Welcome to UFO Buster Radio with your hosts, Nana Moonraker and Big O.
Welcome to UFO Buster Radio. This is Manny Moonraker, and I am your host for the show, and I want to introduce my co-host, Big O.
Hey, what's going on, Manny? Nice to be here. Appreciate it.
So, 6 years off, the show has been off the air, and we come back with Big O. Are you excited about this?
I am so excited. I cannot believe that you invited me on here. I'm going to hopefully bring out the average Joe point of view.
Okay, that's what we need. We need to hear that perspective, especially when it comes to UFOs and aliens, because it's murky waters out there.
It is. It definitely is.
Well, it's funny, when I was thinking about bringing the show back, I actually listened to some of the old shows. And apparently back in the day, about 6 years ago, I thought it was a good idea to have a Middle Eastern intro song. And
oh, yeah.
Did you hear that?
Pre 9/11 might have been a good idea, but right now, not so much.
And it's funny you say that, because I listened to it, and the first thing that ran through my head is, I'm going to be on a terrorist watch list just for playing it.
You're on the ISIS watch list. You know what? If you keep up with that intro, I'm pretty sure the federal government is going to be looking at you too.
I had that fear. So we brought the show back because there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of things happening in the last 6 years. Everything from, UFO sightings to NASA curiosity on Mars and what have you. I've also been listening to a lot of podcasts, seeing what other radio hosts are talking about, and what's the new perspective on this. And I think, Big O, you're going to add to that, aren't you?
I am going to bring out a new flavor to this. I'm hoping to change or not just change, but open everybody's mind to both the people who are into ufology and the people who are just complete skeptics. So, whole new perspective, and just keep an open mind.
So, in general, what would you say your perspective is when it comes to things like UFOs, aliens, even the paranormal, ghosts, demons, what have you?
Okay, my perspective is very simple. Okay, UFO is exactly what it is. It's an unidentified flying object, or USO, unidentified submerged object. We don't know what it is, and that's the problem, okay? It's been so long, and nothing has happened, okay? Now, switching gears, extraterrestrials and intelligent life forms, because we already proved that there's aliens. There's been bacteria on comets, on asteroids that became, comets that came into the atmosphere and still had bacteria that survived the entry. Proven, But what we haven't proven was their intelligent life. Nothing concrete, right? Do I believe there's something out there? Absolutely. The world is too big, or the universe is too big for us to not have something. There's nothing beyond the realm of possibility.
So, Big O, I think we have probably the same perspective in how we see that. One of my biggest issues, of course, is that we have all these people who are pretty much just freaking out because all these guys that were around back when Roswell happened and everyone since then, Project Blue Book and all this kind of stuff, these guys are all withering and getting old and they're dying off, And so people are thinking that the discussion about UFOs is history. It's just going to go away. And I think it's going to take, guys like you and me and other podcasters to keep the conversation going. But like you said, from that perspective, We really need to get rid of some of this undefined, unknown criteria.
100% true. I think that if we was to refocus our attention, right? I think we have our focus in the wrong area. Okay, we're doing the wrong things, and I'm going to cover that briefly in the ozone.
And I think that's a good idea. And I also think that if we can somehow tie that to really looking at the facts that we do know historically and connect that to what's happening now today, I think we'd be able to make some progress. Another thing that I've heard recently is that a lot of the podcasters and ufology researchers are actually looking to get together groups to use technology and really monitor the skies and monitor events and even abductees. Have you heard about that?
No, I'm the average Joe here. Okay, I mean, as much research as I try to put in, it's really hard to tell who's being serious and who's not, which is one of the major problems. You know, you look at a video and you think, oh my God, that's happening. And 2 days later, it's a hoax. You know, these groups, are they groups for attention? You know, try to be in the media, or are they actually trying to do something?
You know, and I think that's the biggest problem, because the regular Joe can actually put together some pretty nice CGI and put a mothership over India that makes the news, you know, makes one of the tabloids. And that really is what makes it difficult, even with the technologies we have in cell phones and portable cameras and stuff like that. It's not enough. You know, there's just not enough for us to really kind of tell the difference between what's real and what's not.
You know, you mentioned that, and I have to say, when you asked me to join your show, I went ahead and looked in the archives and back 6 years in time and listened to some of your shows, right? And to get a feel of how you felt before I actually started. Now, one of the things you said was about the Nokia phones, how they were able somehow to film with those cheap phones, and it's horrible, right? There's no definition. It's blurry, nothing. My problem is I am poor. I am P.O. poor. It's a fact. But I have a Galaxy Note 4, and I know that my phone can record at least 720p. I know in my area of living, there are homeless people with better phones than I have. Why is it that we still don't have good footage?
I mean, right? That's a good question.
That's a huge issue with me. You know, it's like if somebody actually sees a UFO, right? They zoom in as much as possible and have a seizure while looking at the camera and looking at the UFO. Then they have a huge breakdown, put it on the internet. Then everybody's going to go and get on there and docker, edit, and put filters and make you give your perspective what they want you to see. And that's our problem.
Yeah, and that's really tough. I think the other thing too is a lot of people really, they don't look up. They don't look towards the sky. Like I recently saw a bunch of videos where people are videotaping airplanes, and of course we have the issue of the drones. And so they're mistaking drones for UFOs now. It's like, where do you draw the line?
It is almost to the point where every kid on the corner has a drone. You know, it's horrible. Christmas is around the corner. You know, everybody's breaking out the drones and they're flying around. Even the Joes have cameras. You know, where does it stop? Not the where does it, can we use this technology to actually figure things out finally?
It's going to be a tough task for sure. So, you know, going forward, I think our show really is going to be about answering these questions, trying to figure out.
I think so too, especially, not just UFOs, but the paranormal activity. I mean, we know as much about the paranormal activity as a black hole. We have all this evidence, but nothing really solid.
Well, I can tell you right now, I can talk about UFOs and aliens all day. But when it comes to ghosts and demons and stuff like that, that's scary.
Which is probably why a lot of people don't really go into it. Um, I would love to get into, folklore and, hey, Bigfoot, because that's technically, kind of paranormal, maybe not, and really get into it. Let's unlock the mysteries of our planet, not to mention what's out there, because I feel if we unlock it here first, we can expand our horizons.
Hey, maybe we can send you out to the field and you can go to a couple of haunted places and get locked there overnight and see what happens.
Okay, maybe.
Hey, it's a thought. I think that we probably could make a better service to our listeners if we kind of partake in some of these activities and join the crowd, try to solve that mystery.
You know what? We're going to be posting my Twitter. Okay. I want people to Twitter me and to get me more involved. I'm the average Joe. And if there's a haunted house in certain areas that maybe I can get to, I'm going to try it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And the best thing is that usually on the internet you can search and you can find the hot spots. Someone out there has published it and you'll be able to get to it. And, we'll send you out with some recording equipment, some video camera. If you crap your pants, let's catch it. I want to see it.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a big old mistake.
A big old mistake. That's right. So, as Big O mentioned, we do have Twitter accounts, emails, and so forth. We're going to post this with the radio information for each episode. Along with that, we invite people who listen to the show to contact us. We are going to have some live recordings, and we're going to invite you guys to call in, share your experiences. If you have a book that you've put together, or you have a video or so forth that you want to promote, we're open to that. We're happy to accommodate anyone. Just call in during the show. We'll set up an interview time in the future if need be, and we'll interview you and really get that information out to the listeners.
You see, this whole process is to figure out the unknown. Okay? I want to be on your side. Now, I might challenge your views, but it's okay because it's your job to help me understand. And that's what this is all about. It's giving you a chance to actually explain your situation, right? Explain your view and have an open discussion.
And it kind of sounds like you're ready for your segment, Big O.
I am. I'm ready to, bring in the new viewers. Bring it in. Or listeners.
So let's go into the ozone. Tell us what we can expect.
We're going back to basics. We're going to try to bring it back to the beginning of modern society and UFOs and extraterrestrials and all that good stuff.
So what do you have for us today?
Well, what I have is where the term UFO came from, who coined that phrase, and there's a possibility of why they did it.
Sounds interesting. What you got?
Okay. So, in 1898, H.G. Wells created a novel. It's a very popular novel. Everybody should know this novel. It was called War of the Worlds. Okay? Beautifully scripted, right? But somebody did something. Okay? What happened was, on October 1938, a man named Orson Welles in the Columbia Broadcast System. He did an adaptation to this. And the adaptation of War of the Worlds was aired on the radio.
Okay, that's the one that freaked everybody out.
Correct. It was, after really looking into it though, only 27% of the listening audience was really freaked out about it. So that's not as big, but he got so much in trouble for doing this. Okay? Yeah, they called the FCC, the local news people called the FCC on him, and it was just automatic shutdown. But in retrospect, H.G. Wells' novel became legendary. Now, we're going to fast forward, right? In 1947.
That's my favorite year.
In 1947, a pilot was flying a plane for the United States Air Force. Okay? And he noticed something. And he looked. And he said, after he landed, he made a report saying, saucer-like disc objects.
And that would be Mr. Kenneth Arnold.
Yes, it was, actually. Wow. See, average guy. Average Joe, and it was Mr. Kenneth Arnold. He saw these objects, and he reported it to the United States Air Force, and he also told the media. Now, this information was so profound that it was worldwide, right? Everybody. But the crazy thing was, he described it, but he didn't say flying saucers. It was actually the media, go figure. The media misquoted him and said the word, or written the word, flying saucer. Okay? So there was never really a flying saucer. Growing up in the 80s cartoons, how I watched the Jetsons, right? Yeah. And they had that flying saucer shape, and it was perfect. Their little car, right? Mm-hmm. So the media took this idea, right? And everybody, they started drawing it, and it was horrible. That's not what he saw. But they ran with it. Go figure. Media running with something.
Hey, that's what always happens.
Right. But here's funny. This is the funny thing. Maybe the person who coined in the media flying saucer could have read a fiction magazine that came out in the 1930s, right? That actually had the shape of a flying saucer. He could have been a fan. So the moment Mr. Kenneth was saying saucer-like ships, he said, oh my God, I read that book, it's a flying saucer. So once Kenneth came forward, more people started coming forward. And more and more and more. There were more sightings. Everybody saying, oh, it's flying saucer, flying saucer, flying saucer. Well, the thing about that, right, by saying the word flying saucer, people correlate flying saucer with extraterrestrials.
Right. Because it's unknown.
Right. So, fast forward again. Fast forward approximately 5 years in 1952. Well, the United States Air Force has gotten so many reports of flying saucers that it was getting a little bit out of hand. So this is my perspective of how this conversation kind of went down. Well, the general population is getting nervous and getting crazy about this flying saucer ordeal. So we need to name it something and kind of downplay it. So they're going ahead and say, well, we're going to name it. But what is it? I don't know. It's unidentified. It flies. It's an object. UFO. Now, what does that term really does? It takes it, even though it's unidentified, it kind of knocks it down from flying saucer, extraterrestrials, to just UFO. Love the government because they are very smart.
Exactly, because that takes everything off the table. We really don't know what it is, so we really don't need to discuss it.
No, it's done. So
Right.
now, but they need proof. They have gotten so good at covering stuff up and twisting the truth around, right? That they would, hey, that's a UFO. What is it? Well, let's identify. Oh, it's a weather balloon. Uh huh. How you know? Look, it's the same color. It's almost the same shape as a flying saucer. You know, it was really just a UFO, and it was finally identified weather balloon. Okay, they've gotten so good at this, and we, the average Joe, believes them so readily. They don't even have to say anything no more. They don't. Other people are doing it for them. It's so
Exactly.
bad.
So they build on the hysteria.
Yeah, it gets so bad, right? That, I mean, if NASA, not saying that NASA was involved, not at all. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just giving you a point of view, right? If NASA comes out and they try to, interrogate, questions, disclosure, whichever word you want to use, the same thing to me, right? If you try to ask these questions, they would grab another average Joe just like me, put him to the podium, and sit down and just watch in awe and amazement how the average Joe would say, well, what had happened is that the sunlight from the moon came at a certain angle with the Coriolis effect, from my understanding, sir. The Coriolis effect incurred the weather balloon to go down at this time. Not to mention, at this point in time, the barometer reading of the swamp gas was causing this whole technical system to malfunction, and that's why it went down.
Oh, the deadly swamp gas that causes UFOs. Well, listen, I like this. And, the shiny flying saucer thing is very interesting because around the time that Kenneth Arnold had the little situation happen, something else happened in ufology that was, like, huge. Do you know what that was?
Please inform me. I don't know.
The crash at Roswell. So the crash at Roswell happened in and around June 14th, 1947. Give or take a week or so. And it wasn't reported till July 8th, 1947. And so this is where you kind of led me into like what my idea is, that we need to link things together, because just recently, in the last few years, we had a guy named Gary McKinnon, and he's the guy that hacked into 97 military and NASA computers over a 13-month period in 2001 through 2002. So this is a guy for like 10 years. He was fighting extradition from the UK to the US.
Okay, and we don't want to condone hacking into the U.S. government.
But in this case, it was informative, so. But the reason I bring this together is because this is what I'm saying, that we need to kind of tie what we do know. And even though Gary McKinnon is a hacker, and because of that, people might think of him negatively, and they might not believe what he says. But one of the things that he said, he heard from someone that worked at NASA, was that they were actually taking satellite images that contained pictures of large white discs, and they were photoshopping them to remove those items from the satellite images. Now, if you go back all the way to 1947 and even back to, War of the Worlds, the disc shape is still coming up.
It's very consistent, yes.
Exactly.
I mean, if you, even going back before modern man, the disc shape has been very consistent.
Exactly. And that's the point there, that we need to look at what we know. And, taking pictures of UFOs in the sky and what have you in the air, and mysterious little particles by the International Space Station that look like UFOs, that's great and dandy, good for discussion. But there's facts within all these reports that seem to be, basically not really talked about because everyone's looking at the oof and the ah factor, the UFO, the mothership that really most of the time isn't even there.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree with you. One of the things I wanted to touch on, though, Kenneth, our boy Kenneth from 1947, in the mid-50s, he became an activist. He became somebody who was searching for the truth, just like you and I. Right?
It's kind of like seeing the Holy Grail, or having that moment of truth where you're like, are we really alone?
Right. So, in 1977, our boy Kenneth goes to the first UFO Congress. Right? Now, he was extremely disappointed. Right? He was extremely disappointed. He was saying that for all these years that he has been trying to search for the truth, nobody cares. Right? Now, one of the things that I want to touch on before this episode is done was very simple. I want to touch on how we basically went to Congress over and over and we're not getting a response. We need to stop going to our government. Right? We need to focus on private parties and getting the truth out.
You know what? That's a good idea. And that's actually something that is being talked about constantly, that, at this day and age, we can get some billionaire to help us get these answers.
I think we should do that. Stop focusing on the government and move forward as a humanity, as one. And you never know, by doing something like this, it might actually start to bring peace. If everybody come together, right, and focus on getting a problem solved.
Well, Big O, that's a perfect way to close our first episode of 2015, and I guess we look forward to 2016, huh?
Oh yeah, I can't wait. 2016 is going to be a great year for everybody.
Well, like I said earlier, we're going to go ahead and we're going to post our contact information for the show. And again, if anyone wants to come in and share their experience with myself or Big O, just contact us, and we can set up contact information, and we can set up interviews and calls or what have you. We want to hear from you guys, right?
Absolutely. Contact me on Twitter. Tell me your stories. Tell me something. Let's reach out.
Well, for myself, Manny Moonraker, and my co-host, Big O.
Big O.
Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you at our next episode.
Welcome to UFO Buster Radio with your hosts, Manny Moonraker and Big O.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Manny Moonraker here with my co-host,
Big O.
Did you fall asleep for a second there? I was like,
I'm not gonna lie. It's 2016. It's the first episode. I'm trying to get back into the groove of things.
Still got the hangover going.
Mm-hmm. I had to stop drinking.
Yeah. Eventually, we all got to stop drinking. So, we got a first 2016 episode here. So, we have some stuff to talk about, huh?
Yes, we do. New developments. It's going to be a great year, and it's going to be a great show.
And you even have another email address, too.
Uh, okay, so my first two emails, nobody sent me an email. I'm really disappointed, but I figured it was way too long, right? Had to close it up. So it's going to be the Big O 82, which is DABIGO 82 at gmail.com. Keep it short and simple.
So no periods, no underscores, nothing like
The,
that.
the Big O, the Big O 82,
Okay.
gmail.com.
All right, that should be easy enough. We'll make sure we put it on the show description for everyone, just in case they want to send you some information. So, so I have some stuff to talk about, but I do have a complaint.
What, I didn't do it.
Nope, you didn't do it. It was Facebook.
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? What did they do now?
So, like a normal geek, I decided to go on there, get my profile going, go into some groups, look at the UFO stuff, paranormal, and for some reason, I was, I guess, overly excited or whatever, and I joined like 12 groups.
Overachiever. Okay.
Overachiever, and it was all about UFO stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Did you get the
No,
FBI watch?
no, I got the
Okay.
Facebook watch.
What do you mean you got the Facebook watch?
So, this happened Sunday. I was doing this. Monday morning at 8 o'clock, I get a message from Facebook saying that I am suspended and that I need to verify my identity.
What? Okay, first of all, you do know that Facebook is working with the government.
Well, apparently, someone there doesn't like me. Now, I do have a theory though, because one of the groups was a free psychic group where you get a free psychic evaluation.
Oh, really? You're gonna blame the psychics?
I think the psychics did it. I think they banded
Uh,
together.
oh, they listened to one of our shows,
It
our
could
last
be.
show.
Yes.
Oh, you people, and you're a psychic, so you know what I'm thinking right now. Oh, okay, all
Isn't
right.
that cold-blooded?
That's wrong.
But you know
That's
what's worse? The worst part is that I emailed Facebook twice and said, "Hey, why are you blocking me?" No answer.
it's a double conspiracy. First, you're trying to get information about UFOs, and
Exactly.
Facebook is with the government. Right. Second, the psychics knew what you were trying to do. Don't like where you're coming from because you give off all kinds of bad karma. I know. I feel it. It's okay. I still love you. Anyway,
Oh
and
man, that just went south.
it's brotherly love. Let it go. And what had happened was that they conspired together, two conspiracies conform into one big conspiracy, and say you are locked down. It's about to go down.
Well, whatever it is, I basically am suspended until the 19th of January.
You know what?
And
You know what? F Facebook anyway. MySpace is making a comeback.
yeah, your space, because you're probably the only one using it.
I mean, who uses Facebook anyway? We need to go on Instagram and I heard what else is Craigslist? I do Craigslist. No, I can't do Craigslist. I don't
No,
know.
that's where you pick up those other people.
What kind of people have you picked up? People?
No, that's where you pick up those explicit people.
Okay. Why does it have to be explicit? Anyway, moving on.
So anyway, that was my Facebook rant. I'm sick of it. So on the 19th, I'm gonna go crazy and join like 100 groups, see if I get booted out again.
I'm down. You
Yeah,
should do it. I'm gonna root for you all day.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do
Two
it.
folks on the 19. We're gonna be on the FBI watch.
Yep. FBI, the Men in
CIA.
Black, all of them.
Oh, the flashy thingy.
Yeah. So anyway, while I was on there, and some of these groups are really informative, and everyone's there looking for the UFO info and sharing information. And a lot of the groups were MUFON, and we talked about them at one time. And there were some posts regarding the Large Hadron Collider in a video that surfaced, which I shared with you, regarding the vortex that opened up over the collider during the day, and it was filmed by a U.S. tourist in Switzerland.
Oh, so that was actually, that video you sent me was actually over the collider?
It was over that part of the collider that goes through Switzerland.
Okay. So, folks, this video, you're going to post a link, right?
Yeah, I'll post a link in the description for the show.
This video is awesome, okay? I was completely mesmerized. When this person was taking the video, you can actually hear the wind in the vortex, the wind, what the vortex was making so much wind, you can actually hear it in the film. And then when it, I'm not even going to say what it does, but you gotta watch the video. It was crazy.
Okay, but there's one part of the video we have to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
That's the orb.
The UFO?
Yes, the UFO.
In the middle of the, towards the middle of the video, you will see an orb go from the lower right corner of the screen and then towards the middle of the vortex. And once it goes towards the middle of the vortex, it disappears. Not only does the orb disappear, but the vortex cease to exist. That's crazy.
So I'm not going to lie. The first time I saw the video, I felt like a teenage girl at a Justin Bieber concert. You know, I was like, wow. But by the third time, I was like, somebody faked it.
You see, that's always my first reaction was that's got to be a fake. There's no way. You know, especially with technology and 3D effects. But you have more news, right?
I did some research. So, we know that this collider was offline for 2 years. You know, they found the God particle. Well, let's retool this and, you know, kind of fix a couple of areas or what have you.
Right, that was upgraded collider.
And they upgraded it. They juiced it up, basically. They put some steroids in it.
Okay, so now instead of being a collider, it's a super collider.
It's a super collider. It's a vortex-making mamma jamma now. So they are now intending to find other particles besides the fabled God particle.
Okay.
Okay.
I wonder if they're trying to find like pieces of dark matter as well, which is only like 23% of the universe.
Well, you know, there are some stories about them and dark matter, and trying to define that too. But this isn't what happened. So as we said, the vortex opened up on December 7th. This is when the video was taken.
Right.
So at first thought I said, oh, it's a hoax. You know, these guys, they need to use their powers for good. This is crazy what they're doing.
Right.
So I did some research. Well, it turns out that today an article was published in Wired.com. And now they're saying that 3 weeks ago, something strange happened at the collider. They're saying that 2 protons were captured at the same time. And apparently, that goes against physics. Like it's never happened before. And it's not the way protons actually behave.
Supposed to behave. So we got to break it down because you got to remember, I'm the blue collar guy. Even though I know about the collider, right? What exactly does a collider do? You got to break it down for everybody else.
Well, basically, what the collider does is it speeds up particles
to sub-light speed.
Exactly, in order to crash these atoms together, break them apart, and you basically examine what you get.
All right. I think I know more than you. Oh my God, this is going to be awesome. So basically, a collider, what it does, just like you said, it takes 2 particles and spins it up to sub-light speed, and then they spin the other particle in the opposite direction, and they collide it with a sensor. Now, the sensor is supposed to pick up everything. I mean, to the tiniest molecule, even tinier than any electronic microscope can see. It's supposed to sense it.
So
when
it's
they
called
collide.
subatomic.
Yes. You're making fun of me. I know. It's okay.
I mean, you just said everything I said, but with like 50 more words.
Well, I'm just making it more simple. God. Anyway, so, but the fear about the collider a long time ago was is going to create a black hole. A lot of people was like, this is going to be the destruction of the Earth, but none of that has happened. Now, there has been more than one collider built, but this is the one that's still continuously running. And now that they amped it up, it would be so cool if we can actually keep going with physics and breaking, all the laws that was already implemented years and years ago, and move on with our technology and find UFOs. Because apparently we're getting their attention with it.
The issue here is that they've pretty much, with what happened 3 weeks ago, are saying that it doesn't follow any of the known theories or behaviors that have been established in physics. So if you go back like 3 weeks ago, give or take a week, we have this vortex that's on video.
Right.
So to me, this kind of brings forth the Roswell incident. You have the UFOs crashing. Somebody steps in and says, no, it's weather balloons or Project Mogul.
Right. Depending
Here
on,
you have the vortex. And now
Mm-hmm.
somebody steps in and says, no, we might have had some new physics happening around the same time.
So what they're... Oh, okay. Okay. The whole cover-up thing.
Exactly.
So conspiracy... We should have like a conspiracy button, that go, conspiracy, whoop, whoop. I'm telling you, I think that no matter what they say, it really doesn't matter. The kaleidoscope, the kaleidoscope. The collider is going to bring out more attention because it's one of those things that we're advancing, and they might not want us to go too far.
Well, I still think that the UFO thing, that little orb, was fake.
Really?
Yeah, I think someone added that in.
Yeah, but could the collider be so strong that it is creating vortex in the atmosphere?
No one really knows. But if you look up on YouTube or you do any internet searches, there's tons of videos of things happening over the collider. But how many of those are real?
All right, somebody needs to plan a trip.
There you go.
We need
UFO Buster Collider Tour.
We shall start with donations. We should do a Steve Bassett for every Steve Bassett, Bassett, whatever. We should do a fundraiser. If he could fundraise $50,000 to send cheap ass CDs to these government people, right? We should be able to get enough money to take a trip and have a professional film crew to film the collider in the action and the atmosphere above it. See something happen.
Okay, that'll work. It doesn't cost $50,000 just to get there.
I know. Exactly.
So here's my other theory. What if there's an insider at the CERN Large Hadron Collider which is conducting these hoaxes? You know what I mean? Like someone that knew that this was going to be reported and so decided to kind of beat them to the punch and put out a hoax video.
Okay. So, I mean, nothing is beyond the realm of possibility, but that's like, double conspiracy type deal. That's a what if for days. And it will be hard to follow that. It will be hard to confirm that as well. It's so hard that I'd rather say that's just a hoax or, hey, something's going on and investigate instead of being, okay, here's the plan. We're going to fake this and then say this happened so that way what we're doing down here, nobody knows. And that's...
Well, no, I wouldn't. I'm not saying that it was CERN. I'm saying it was someone connected to CERN that had information that this happened.
I mean, if that's the case, they're overachievers, really.
Or
that was
someone
awesome.
looking to make 1 million hits on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what we should do. Make 1 million, do like a conspiracy hoax thing, and get more listens. Not that we don't mind you guys listening. We love you guys, but still.
So there you go. That was my kind of connecting thing there to that vortex, that great video, which could be a big hoax as far as we know.
I'm very skeptical, but this one I actually hope it's not.
So if anyone out there has an opinion about it, we are still going to include our telephone number, and you can call us and leave us a message with your idea as far as what you think it is. Or if you want to leave us any other message, please look at the show description, and it'll include our contact information, Twitter accounts, Facebook, and email.
I would really like to see if we can make some friends and get some listeners in Switzerland. So that way, if a collider, when it's active, they can film it for us and be like dedicated listeners and, give us information, videos, and stuff like that. That would be awesome too.
And that'd be a great idea if someone could maybe fund maybe like a little station that's connected to the internet that people can log into and watch this 24 hours.
Yep, NASA has the International Space Station showing all kinds of stupid stuff that nobody really cares. Well, people do, but really, every little piece of debris is a UFO at this point. But the collider, that would be awesome.
Yeah, we could do like a web feed.
Yep, live feed.
Live feed. That's a great idea. I think you should get together with Stephen Bassett and John Podesta and all those guys and see if we can get some funding.
I don't think we ever see eye to eye, and that would probably be a bad idea. I don't even like the dude. It's not even. I think it's almost personal. It is. I'm saying it's personal. It is.
Well, come on. He looks like a teddy bear.
He looks like that creepy old guy.
Well, I guess we're ready for your segment, huh?
Big O! It's showtime!
So what you got on the ozone today?
So today, this happened actually fairly recent. It's about politics, and I hate politics. I really do. I can't stand politics. I can't stand some of the things that's happening in the government. But it's about Hillary Clinton. She recently, for the past week, a lot of information has come out about her wanting to get to complete this disclosure. Truth embargo, that word comes up again every time we talk about the government. It's annoying. Truth embargo, that Hillary Clinton is going to look into UFOs. But that's the same thing that happened with Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton said the same thing. I'm going to get down to, figure out what's going on with this UFO business, Area 51. He even had an interview with Jimmy Kimmel when he was in second term. He said that he went and tried to find out all the information he can about Area 51. And he said there were no aliens. The thing that was weird was he also said that the people who worked at Area 51 had to stop miles before actually entering Area 51 and put on special clothing to enter the property.
Well, that's so that they don't catch any alien viruses.
Or radiation, or whatever the case may be. Which is, weird, because if you're studying stealth technology at Area 51, right, what does having special suits have to do with anything? I don't know. I don't get it. Will they ever tell us? Absolutely not. I don't think Bill Clinton knows anything. They don't.
I don't understand why she has to say, if I get elected, why can't she look at it now?
Well, she's not the president. That's why. I mean,
she was the Mrs. Prez. She's got some clout.
She was first lady, but I mean, I'm going to talk about politics. I hate this. All right. Look at Obama. Right? As a matter of fact, Mr. Podesta was part of Obama's chair. He was a chair advisor in 2014. And he's a big UFO advocate. He's really wanting to give this information to the public. And one of the things that he noted, he tweeted that his biggest failure for 2014 was not giving or not getting the undisclosed UFO files, supposedly, from the government. Now, guess who is the head campaign administrator for Hillary Clinton? Podesta. Is it something that he's like bugging her in her ear? That's why she said that? Or is he really trying to make a difference? I don't know. It's almost like a political game, and that's why I don't like politics.
Well, I can see someone like him. He sees the opportunity. He's out of he's trying to step out of the politics. Leaving the Obama administration, and here comes Hillary, and they're friendly. They're kind of like best buds. So why not put that in her ear?
I mean, it's not even best buds. He is the campaign manager for her. It's, hey, by the way, when you are elected president, can you open up the UFO files again, please? I want to see it. The government is not going to do it. It's not going to happen. How many times you see it over and over when the president goes against the government? So many times. It's almost as if the government is just a puppet in our government system. The government is just the puppet. He's there to look good and pass these laws, but by the time all these laws and all these bills get to Congress, Congress is like, no, whatever. We're not doing it. We're going to not do this. We're not going to do that. We're not. You know what? We're not going to do any of this. Let's take a vacation. Strike. We saw this happen. At one point, the CIA said, there's no such thing as the CIA. This building does not exist. The government
I think that Hillary Clinton is a pretty strong-minded person, so unless she saw some kind of angle for her in this, I don't think even John Podesta could convince her that this is something she should say publicly.
Well, but she also said that we have been visited. She said this. Now, Bill Clinton said that there's nothing beyond, basically, in some terms, he said there's nothing beyond the realm of possibility. There are planets out there that definitely can support life. Something can be out there, right? He didn't say there was. He said the possibility, if, the rotational axis and blah, 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 it can happen. Now, Hillary, on the other hand, is saying we have been visited. We just don't know yet. And if our government knows, I'm going to bring it up to the forefront, which is exciting.
Oh,
but
yeah. It has all the ufologists going bananas.
But is it the same song and dance that you hear it's like, I'm going to lower taxes, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's the same song and dance. Stop looking towards the government, people. We need to look somewhere else. We need to do something else. The government is not going to let us know. It's not going to happen. Let it go.
Well, I think as a podcast of the people, I think I need to put out a PSA right now.
Okay.
And I can tell you this much, and I've told you that from time to time I do listen to other podcasts.
Yes.
And some are more fortunate than us and have had psychics on those shows.
Okay.
And these psychics are predicting that she will be the next president. So, here's my PSA, my public service announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, if she gets elected as president, please, whatever you do, do not send her pictures of a cigar-shaped UFO.
Oh, my God. Wow. Really?
I'm telling you, I firmly believe that she suffers from PTSD from when her husband was in the White House. You don't want to hear that knock in the middle of the night after you send her that picture.
I don't know him. this person that I am talking with, I do not know him at all. The United States government, I understand who you guys are. I don't know him. If she becomes president and hears this, for whatever reason, somebody's going to send this to her. I don't know him at all.
Listen, I'm just keeping it real.
Whatever.
You know, I'm pretty sure she'll get
A
flashbacks.
woman scorned. I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a predator drone over your house or apartment or wherever you live. It's going to be hovering right above you on your way to work. You're done. You ever seen the movie Eagle Eye? That's going to be all you.
Hey, I didn't do it. She needs to talk to Slick Willie.
I'm going to tell you, that's going to be the funniest thing ever. That's so bad. You've been wanting to say that, didn't you? The moment she came up in the topic, that's the first thing that came to your mind. Oh, my God.
I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I could picture, like, someone in the cabinet coming to her, putting a picture on her desk in the Oval Office, her looking down, freaking out, and on the UFO on the corner it says Monica was here.
So I think that's it for our podcast. Really? Oh man, we're not gonna make it to the next episode.
Probably not.
And then you complain that you got kicked off of Facebook.
Well, this is me being enraged.
And I'm the crazy one. And no, you can't do the crazy thing but me. And yet you're calling out Hillary Clinton.
No, I'm not calling her out. Listen.
No, you just talking about cigars and Monica Lewinsky.
No, I say UFOs. I ain't saying nothing about cigars.
I'm sorry, cigar shaped UFO.
Your brain's in the gutter.
What? Whatever. Anyway, thank you, people, listeners, for listening to us for as long as we've been around. Because I might not be able to go to work tomorrow, but
you're gonna be imprisoned in Guantanamo.
Guantanamo Bay.
That's right.
Is it still? No, they closed it, didn't they?
Is it gonna be open just for you?
Meat sandwich.
Yeah.
Explicit. So, you just destroyed my ozone. I had more, but I can't even bring it up now.
Just think about it.
The cigar?
Anyway, so another thing that I was thinking about today, since you kind of lost it there. You don't remember how Hulk Hogan used to have his Hulkamaniacs?
Yeah.
I think we should have Buster Heads.
It doesn't go well continuing the conversation about cigar-shaped UFOs.
What, Buster Heads? No, Buster Heads are our listeners.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. You know, I was hoping to have a big old fan club, the O fans, but
not from jail.
Not from jail.
Yeah, but not from jail. You're not going to have any kind of fans from there. So what else you have on the ozone?
That was it, actually. Between Podesta actually, following Hillary Clinton, telling her exactly what I think he's really pushing it and pushing really hard for the public to know what's going on with the UFOs. But I really don't think that's going to happen. I truly feel that the government is not going to send any aid or is not going to tell any truth when it comes to anything UFO related, extraterrestrial, anything. That's never going to happen.
Yeah, I think you're right. And to me, basically, why would they just be still flying around? If they've been here for over a century, we could say, they're already on the ground. They're running around doing stuff. Why do we need to know about UFOs anymore?
Oh, so you think we need to catch them in the act? Like Sasquatch style?
Yeah. I mean, pretty much, they're here. Why would they still be just flying around, hanging around, posing for pictures in the air? They're on the ground.
I really think, to be honest, instead of being on the ground, let's look at the resource that really is on Earth. It would be underwater. I mean, we have not fully explored our water at all, and there's still so much that we don't know that's down there. We just recently found, not recently, a giant squid, which everybody known about it. We've seen parts of it. We just finally filmed one by accident. So there's so much down there that we still don't know. We're still finding new species down there. I think we need to focus on our oceans, and maybe we'll find a USO.
Yeah, regardless, I just think looking up for UFOs is really is a waste of time. And to be honest, I don't think the government's ever going to tell us. But I do think that when that ET is ready to let us know that they're here, they can pretty much take over any cell tower and announce it to everyone in the world.
Yeah, I mean, Steven was talking about how that one incident where a UFO went to a missile silo, a nuclear missile silo, and shut down all the missiles there. Apparently, supposedly, they have the technology to influence our technology completely. So you're probably absolutely right.
Well, I guess we'll find out as we continue our search to figure out what's really going on and why UFOs are still a mystery.
Well, we're still trying to get our definition. It's in our nature.
So, any last words for the Busterheads?
I feel that the shows are going to get better. We're going to come out with better stuff. Please give us feedback and let 2016 be the last year we stop calling these things UFOs.
Folks, this is the end of episode 4. We thank you for listening. And as we stated earlier, we have a telephone number. And please, if you have any stories you want to share and don't want to do a live interview, you can leave us a message at that number. It's in the show description. And be sure to share the show with your friends. It can be found also on Stitcher. We can be found on Spreaker, iTunes, and even on YouTube.
Just not on Facebook.
Just not on Facebook until the 19th. And then we'll get banned again. So, thank you all for listening, and until next time.
Welcome to UFO Buster Radio with your hosts, Man and Moonraker and Big O.
Big O, are you there?
Big O is in the house.
Big O's in the house, and this is Manny Moonraker, and we are here for episode number...
It's number 6.
Number 6. We're here for episode number 6. Welcome aboard, everyone, and this is the Spacecraft UFO Buster Radio. I'm Manny Moonraker, and I've got Big O with me, and we've got some great stuff for you today.
We got some pretty interesting stuff. I can't wait to get into it.
Let me tell you, I've been looking around, and we've been trying to find some... trying to get through all this craziness that we have out there. And, Big O, I've been looking at this stuff, and something tells me that something is just not right with NASA.
I've been saying that for years. Years and years and years. NASA, is it a government agency? Is it not a government agency? They're so hush-hush and secretive, but they're technically... an independent company. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's a little weird because here we are, we have NASA, and they're supposed to be part of the government. You know, that's the branch that deals with space travel and exploration. But when you look at the history, it really seems like they're being run by the occult.
Really?
It's really strange, and you know, I came across this because I was looking on an HBO special regarding Scientology.
Oh,
And
that's great.
yeah, and so you know Scientology. You've seen how our boy from Mission Impossible, Mr.
Yep, Mr. Tom Cruise. Yep, yep.
Tom Cruise, has been acting really wacky, and we'll probably get blown up now by Scientology people. But listen, so Tom Cruise has been acting crazy because of Scientology, or at least that's what people's opinion is. But this documentary kind of led some information regarding JPL, and which is the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Which, if you look at all the missions for NASA, especially with the rovers, all you see is JPL. You know,
Really?
JPL is running things.
So that's his baby. NASA is pretty much JPL Incorporated.
Right. And this is where things get a little crazy for me because, you know, haven't you ever wondered why are we looking at rocks on Mars?
You know, considering that all the other planets out there, I would think personally, right? The things that we was told, the reason why NASA goes to Mars is to look at the minerals and see if there's anything that's related to Earth, see how it used to be like Earth at one point in time, you know, something along those lines. That's why we're looking at rocks. That's what they're telling us.
Okay, but here's the big question. Now, you and I, we've had this conversation, and a lot of times the topic of if aliens show up on Earth, things are going to get crazy. There's going to be anarchy. Now, we've had that conversation before, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So
I
here's
mean,
my thing. Here's all the people that I know. When this conversation comes up, no one acts like they're going to lose their mind and try to kill their neighbor just because aliens show up. Do you have that experience?
um, kinda.
Well, you know, and here's my thing. And here's my thing. If the people that we know, and I know some really religious people, don't feel like we are the center of the entire universe, and they actually believe, as God-fearing people, or whatever religion they follow, that there is other life somewhere else, why is it that we don't have disclosure?
Well, like I said, I once again I understand the government's point of view on that and why they want to keep it hush hush, right? And it, if you look at the history of man, if you look at the United States in general, right? How long have our nation has actually been in peace compared to how long it's been in war? I mean, we have been as a nation, we have not been in peace maybe half a decade. No, excuse me, maybe half a century. We have maybe since our nation was formed, maybe had 50 years of peace. We have been in war the entire time at something. We're kind of destructive.
Well, would that change if the enemy was not terrestrial?
I mean, I think we do need to change I think the government needs to change its perspective on how they look at us as people as a whole. And when they treat us different, we will act different. You know, I understand their way, but we do need to know the truth because it's just going to create more chaos if things
Well,
keeps going.
well, let's look at the truth. Let's look at JPL. So
Okay.
you've heard of Scientology before.
Absolutely, Mr. Tom
Okay,
Cruise.
that's right. Now you've heard that Scientology was actually created by L. Ron Hubbard, and he was the one who wrote the book of Dianetics back in the day.
You see, you're going to talk about this. Are you going to talk about the whole spaceship thing?
No, not necessarily the spaceship thing, because it turns out, now I've been doing some research, and the spaceship thing may or may not be true, but it depends where you read it. What I want to look at is basically where does L. Ron Hubbard tie into JPL?
Okay.
Okay, so JPL is pretty much running all of these missions, into deep space, into things like Pluto, Mars, and the moons around Saturn.
Okay.
So it turns out that one of the founders of JPL was a member of an occult religion, would you say, that worships the coming of the Antichrist?
Of the what?
Antichrist.
Okay.
The
Okay.
devil, Beelzebub.
Go ahead.
And apparently him and his wife were kind of taken by L. Ron Hubbard and try to get him into this occult religion. And basically the basis of the religion was that they were looking for a particular redhead in order to be the bearer of Antichrist fruit and actually giving birth to the Antichrist.
And they believe that this stone or whatever they're looking for is on Mars.
No, not necessarily. They really didn't talk about Mars in this, but they basically thought that L. Ron Hubbard could probably play a role in this in some way or another. And what's interesting is the time frame. Now, according to this, the individual who started all of this, Mr. Parsons is his name. He actually started the foundation for JPL back in the 1930s. And he actually invented what really is used now, which is the solid rocket fuel for most of these rockets to take off and deliver, things like payload to the International Space Station or into deep space.
Okay. The liquid fuel, like hydrogen, got it. Rocket fuel.
So here we have someone who's pretty much attached to the occult, who actually might have influenced the origins of Scientology. And from what I can see from my research, apparently Scientology seems to have a lot of connections to NASA. Now, one of the things that you alluded to was the spaceship.
Right.
So there was a story back out of the nationalreport.net, which reported earlier this year that NASA approved a 12-seat spacecraft called Hubbard 1 to launch Friday the 13th of 2020, which was going to be completely funded by Scientology.
See, that's weird.
Isn't it?
Okay. You know how the government kind of distincts itself from religion?
Yeah.
Tries to, in many ways.
Absolutely.
In some ways, I think it's a good idea. Because we don't want... I don't want to say this well, because you're already making Scientology people mad, and they are ruthless. And you've already, got Hillary Clinton on us and the FBI and saying, you're worse than me.
Let's bring them all. I don't care.
Yeah, we're just... And Facebook, too. Facebook, we're just pissing off
Twitter, let's bring him. Bring the bird, too. I don't care.
Right? So, I'm gonna do this. People with a strong religion, a strong faith, shouldn't... I'm not saying they should not be scientists. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying if you have an influence because of your religion in something that's scientific, step aside. Because you're going to influence what the science, what the facts are. You're going to use your religion, and you might throw in your perception through your religion in your scientific research. And that's something that I really don't want. I want facts. The sky is blue. Why is it blue? Because, that in the atmosphere there's water droplets, and it goes through the sun, the light goes through and is like a prism and it reflects blue. That's why the sky is blue. That's a fact. Keep it that way.
So here's what's interesting about Scientology. Do you know that one of their core beliefs is that humans are kind of like reincarnations of aliens?
Right. Well, that was the thing. That was the whole thing of Scientology at the very beginning when it was called Dianetics, right? And they were trying to teach it in schools, as a matter of fact. And in Dianetics, at one point, they were saying that the reincarnated aliens, as they died, it would go into this giant spaceship and would absorb all the souls and some crazy stuff. And then if you go to a Scientologist now, they will say, "Oh no, we don't believe in that stuff. No, that's crazy." Because it is.
Well, it turns out that maybe they do. Maybe they still believe it, but they've learned kind of the NASA way and the way of maybe what many people consider the secret government, and that is that they keep it on the down low. You
Yeah.
know? So the other thing is that the website that first reported that there was this deal with NASA and the FAA for them to be able to send this 12-seat spaceship, Hubbard 1, into space in 2020, it turns out that now the website itself was debunked as being one that's pretty much fake. It's not a real website. It's all about they're spoofing, the news and things like that. So they're saying it's not true, that this was all a fake article.
So like a double hoax thing?
Yeah, so it was kind of like a hoax, it's
Lighter
kind of
thing.
like Onion News. Remember, have you ever heard of Onion News?
No.
Where they spoof the news and things like that, like satirical in a way. But here is something interesting. So if you look on Google, there's plenty of articles of where Scientology is mixed in with NASA and JPL. And most recently, on June 12th of 2015, NASA and JPL got together with Scientology to talk about the environment.
It's like NASA is joining the biggest cult in the world.
Exactly. And the thing is, it's known as a UFO cult. I mean, come on, it cannot be any clearer than that.
I mean, Scientology, I don't want to piss them off because they're creepy. I don't want Tom Cruise and with his Mission Impossible skills to come to my door because this is going to be just one crazy mess. I'm going to just sit on him. I'm Big O.
Hey,
about
listen,
as I'm gonna go.
As long as you get an autograph before he sits on you, you're okay because you'll make some money off of that.
The dead actor known as Tom Cruise.
Exactly.
Wow.
So anyway, I just think that the connections are really strange, they're really weird, and there's a reason why so many people have all these questions about JPL, and especially the Mars Curiosity mission, because it's just not jiving right.
When it comes to NASA has been one of those agencies that's just, it's like the ultimate, cult itself. They're supposed to help humanity. And to my knowledge, one of the things, I don't know many things that they help humanity on, other than, satellites and, of course, getting stuff up there, obviously. But still, if you really want to, instead of going to the government for the truth embargo, let's just focus all our attention to the people who actually went up there.
You know what? And I think you're right in that point. And I think that one of the directions that we need to go in as UFO Buster Radio, in order to get us away from the cookie cutter UFO, paranormal podcast, is that we need to create a place where we can get individuals from all over the world to get together and really present real evidence outside of NASA, the government, and the people that seem to be on the fence, where you think they're, being paid or influenced to kind of hide the truth.
And maybe we need to go ahead and go to other, like I said, people around the world. Hey, France is still looking. Out of all the government agencies, France still has a current supposed agency that is still looking and investigating UFOs and extraterrestrials. So if anybody who happens to be in that area, that side of the pond, hook us up. We need to get together, and we're going to start globally, one by one. We're going to bother our agencies, not the government. Forget about the government. Whatever agency that controls your space program, knock on their door, sign petitions. That's what we need to do. Well, I don't know if petitions work. Do the email thing and the selfie thing.
And I think you're right. I mean, petitions really don't work because the petitions go to the government, which it's really up to them whether or not they're going to disclose anything anyway.
I just did a Steve Bassett speech. I feel so bad right now. Let's sign petitions and send faxes to all these offices that does nothing.
Yeah, but the difference is he got $50,000 for his.
Oh, yeah. Just
Yeah.
to waste. So let's get together and make it known, right? Let's use the internet to our advantage and make it known. Make it so that way we'll publicize and put it out there that these space technology agencies from around the world is hiding the truth.
Yeah, and I think we should pretty much pledge that as a new podcast, that we're just not going to be a podcast, that we're going to be active in finding the truth behind all these sightings and the fact that NASA's information seems to be so convoluted anyway.
It would be so awesome that we become the podcast that breaks the mold and actually finds the truth, whether it's paranormal or UFO extraterrestrial. If I'm on the forefront helping mankind with this podcast, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think it would be great. And so what I want to do is make sure that everyone knows our calling number. So our calling number is going to be available 24 hours, regardless of whether or not we're broadcasting or we're recording or what have you. So most of the time we record the show and it's not live. And we will attempt to do a live show here shortly. However, if you have a UFO sighting or a ghost experience that you want to share with us, we will gladly post that in our podcast and play it live. And the number is 972-290-1329. And it's in our show description. And please call us. We're waiting to hear from you.
Yeah. Now, if you also are writing a book, doing a blog, or you happen to be on YouTube doing your own thing, and you want to be more well-known, you got some evidence that you want to share with everybody, give us a call. We'll set up an interview. We want to interview you. I still want an interview with a psychic or a medium all day. Y'all still have not called us. Now we're giving you the number. There's no excuse now.
So, Big O, I think we pretty much are going to leave this NASA and Scientology issue where it is for the moment. And I think we're ready for your segment.
Big O! It's showtime!
So, what's on the Big O Talk today?
So, today I found some articles and some videos of these crazy pictures on Mars. Now, as we know, we got a rover on Mars and just drive it around, taking pictures, taking soil samples, and everybody goes crazy every time they see something. Base on Mars, pyramids. Well, we found two things that I'm skeptical on, and one I could say plausible. One I'm interested in. Two of them, one of them looks like a
an extraterrestrial humanoid skeleton. If you look at it, it looks like a fossil of a skeleton. Could be, could not be. My problem with this is perception.
So these are like pictures that were taken by the Mars rover Curiosity?
Yes. Yes, they were. And there's, there's dedicated people that are watching the rover go, and they're watching and they looking through all these films and they find something, then they freeze frame it, and then they do all these special effects, right, to bring out what they want you to see, right, to highlight. And to me, it's bad when you do that. If you don't recognize it right away and it's something familiar, your mind is automatically going to kind of put it together itself. It is not necessarily true. I believe the term is pareidolia.
Oh, pareidolia?
Yes, pareidolia. Sorry. So, pareidolia is when you look at something visually and your eyes may not have the exact information, maybe shading, shadows, and then what your brain does, it takes that information and makes it so that way it refers to something familiar to what it is. So those shapes and shadows may look like a person's face. Is also a reason why a lot of times you mistake somebody's face with another person. Because you glance at that person, you look down, and then your mind takes that information. It wasn't able to fully see the face, and like, oh, that was so and so, and you look back and it's not. I think the same thing that's happening here. We are taking items and making it so that way it's just we're pushing a perception out there, and we need to stop doing that. Now, there was a rock or supposed fossil that it had these weird contours. It looks almost like a femur, maybe a hip bone, I don't know, rib cage, don't know, don't care. Very weird. And they say, oh, that's a fossil, guaranteed. But the problem with that is, a long time ago, it's been proven that there was a water or liquid type substance, because you don't really know. They might have proven it, but still, there was water there. There's also giant dust storms that last for months, and that causes mechanical weathering. It causes crazy shapes. If you look up mechanical weathering in canyons, you will see crazy shapes all day. Some shapes look like faces on Earth. Now, there was one thing that stood out. I'm like, okay, I want to see it. It looked like a claw. That was awesome.
So was that from mechanical weathering, you think?
For it to be that defined and that in that particular shape, like a predatorial claw, that I can't say for a definite fact that, oh, maybe mechanical weathering. No, that's like, okay, we need to send the rover back that way and take a sample from it. See if there's any carbon in it. See if we can carbon date it. See if there's, any type of life in it. Because without carbon, there's no life. So we think.
Well, here's the thing. As far as sending the rover back, if JPL is in control of the rover, there is no way that they're going to go back just because someone thinks that they saw a claw or a bone in some of the pictures that the rover takes.
Which makes you wonder why we understand that they're trying to supposedly find soil samples and do whatever they're really doing, or whatever it is that they're really looking for. I heard so many different twists and stories of why we're searching on Mars. Everything from water, okay, we found water. Everything from possible habitat, okay, Mars supposedly has a very, very, very thin atmosphere. Thin.
But you know what's funny about the water is that there was some kind of a treaty signed about space exploration that says that unless NASA is completely sure that they're not going to contaminate the water, that they're not allowed to go near the water. So right now, even though the rover has traveled a gajillion miles away, through all this kind of radiation and landed on Mars, they're not going to go by the area that they think there is running water or sufficient amount of water to test because the rover might be contaminated by Earth.
And that's crazy. Why don't we send? I've seen specials. Stephen Hawking did a special, so many specials about searching planets for water. And why don't we just send a probe just for that, just for water, or just for if it's ice, we're going to the ice caps. Why not send a probe to the ice caps to melt the ice caps and get information? The only thing you really need is to have a metal surface. It will conduct some type of heat. It will absorb some type of heat from somewhere. It will melt the ice caps, and you can take samples and send samples back. I don't get it. If I can come up with a stupid idea like this, stupid, I think, and these guys are rocket scientists. I am not kidding. These guys are literal rocket scientists. Why haven't we done this yet?
Well,
should I go over to NASA and just let them know that you guys are idiots?
That's a good question. So here we go, and we come back to the idea. So we have countless reports of UFOs under intelligent control, but yet we spend millions among millions of dollars to send a VW bug-sized rover to Mars to examine rocks.
and it's so funny because let's not forget, okay, that by the time the rovers actually get to Mars, it has taken so many years that all the technology that's on that rover is so out of date that we're just like, oh, come on. It's like, the rovers out there are pretty much, compared to us, they're on dial-up. While we have lightning speed, 100, 200 T1 connections, whatever the case may be, it feels like those rovers are taking forever to get the information to us. And it is. And the information is so basic that I think they're still guessing.
Well,
and that really aggravates me.
Well, right now it doesn't really take. I don't think it takes more than a year to get to Mars. I think the problem is that the communication is not exactly a direct link. Like, you can't just call the rover up and say, "Hey, what's going on today?" It takes time for us to get that information.
Like a 5-minute delay. It's kind of like a ping.
Yeah.
If you ever watch the movie Gamer, you guys will know. If you guys play games after PS3, you guys will know that ping will kill you every time. Black Ops 2 all day.
Well, and honestly, my question is basically, why is it that we've had, years, decades of people saying that there's aliens and there's landing reports, and we see people, who are claiming that they see bodies and so forth, but yet we want to go over to Mars and look at rocks, and we want to sit there and say, well, there's a lot of evidence that there might be some carbon and there might be oxygen, and these are the signs of that there might be some life here, maybe microbial life, but we're really not sure. And initially they were saying there was no water, and then they were saying there was some water. Now they're saying that, well, there's signs that there could be quite a bit of water under the surface.
There was videos. I've seen videos of water condensation on the rocks from the rover. You will see the water, and especially when the rover starts drilling, see supposedly water. But then again, was that video a hoax or doctored up to see something that wasn't there? I don't know. All I'm saying is, you're absolutely right. We're sending millions and millions and spending all kinds of money to go and look at dirt. Let's go and look for life. Let's go and look for something bigger. We're taking, it's like they're holding it back. Why?
Well, and that's a good question. So I just looked it up, and it takes about 6 to 8 months to get to Mars. But
It takes 60 days. Okay.
yeah, no, 6 to 8 months. 6 to 8
Oh,
months.
6 months. Okay.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So if you're getting all these readings from your rock rover, your geological research rover, that there might be microbial life pretty much farting because basically that's what they're saying. That the gas that they're reading is kind of the gas that you would get when microbial life farts.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you think that someone would say, well, you know what, this isn't something that happens naturally, you know, or, well, let me take that back. It does happen naturally. You know, you have life, it takes in, you know, nutrients or what have you, and it has gas. It is weird because in a lot of the reports, you see this, where they're saying that there is signs of microbial life that's putting out gas.
Right.
So, wouldn't it be that one would say that you have all these different items that are coming together, that there is life on another planet, and it's even within our solar system? Because really, that's what the big picture is. If there's life in our solar system, then for dang sure, in another galaxy, there probably is life there also. And it might be like us.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like the planet that was in a different solar system that it is exactly like Earth, but slightly bigger. They call it Earth's bigger brother. Did you hear about that one?
Yeah. So, they're looking at the habitable zone and all these
Right.
different solar systems and galaxies. And there's millions of them. Millions. Are you telling me that we are the only people in the
Well,
universe?
I don't think nobody wants to say that no more. At this point, unless you're just a religious nut or somebody who just came out of a nuclear fallout cave, everybody's pretty much saying the same thing. Everybody who I talk to, I know you talk to a lot of people too. Right? A lot of people email you. They don't email me. I'm kind of sad. But anyway, they all say to me that the possibility of life outside of this planet, there's always a big possibility because space is too big for nothing to be there. Even Hawking says it. He's one of the smartest men that I know today. And everybody's saying this, and I truly believe there's something out there. Now, I think, I want to throw this theory at you. If we ever see any signs of life, there's actually a theory. I have to look up the theory. I'll probably send Manny a email link of this theory. I forget what theory it is, but we're not going to see the life form, but what we will encounter is a robotic or a artificial intelligence representing the life form. I believe that to happen first.
And it's possible. But, in that same vein, I think that only those that are fanatics about their religion and about their place in the universe are the ones that are going to have a total meltdown and create anarchy.
That those are the ones. But then there's also, you got the one person who wants to start a fight, and then you got all the other people that just want to get involved because it's something different, because they hate their life or they just don't care about humanity.
But we deal with people like that every day.
Right. We do deal with people like that every day. But the point is, if you give the people a reason to go crazy, right, they're going to go crazy. But as far as UFOs is concerned, I truly believe that instead of finding a UFO or extraterrestrial, I keep saying UFO, which is not right. Instead of finding or seeing extraterrestrial and acknowledging that, we're going to acknowledge artificial intelligence representing extraterrestrial species.
Well, you know what I think? I think what's happening with NASA is that NASA is part of the big plan. So basically, what they're doing is that they're slowly trying to introduce us to the idea that there is life elsewhere, that life is just not here. That if we can find life, let's say, on Mars or Jupiter or Saturn or one of the moons of Saturn, that people will automatically understand that there could be life somewhere else. And I think
So
NASA
basically,
is, well, I think
explain.
NASA is part of that big plan of trying to
So,
get to disclosure.
so basically, you're trying to say that they're hitting us with particular, say, hey, guess what? On this rock, millions of miles away, not on Earth, we found a microorganism. It's technically extraterrestrial. Ooh. So they keep doing that, and then the movies get better, and we start getting more and more movies that are, alien friendly, and you think that's just going to be that's their way, right? With all the plans and cultures, that's and secret governments is their way of letting us know little by little, hey, something real big that's about to happen right now. You're about to meet somebody. Let's start preparing them.
Well, I mean, to be honest, back when, the Majestic 12 was first put together and people were talking about alien civilizations, that was their idea. That was back in the 1940s when they thought that people would basically lose their mind, that people would lose all kind of common sense and there would be anarchy, you know. I don't think that's the same today. I think that right now people are more open to the idea that we are not the center of everything. I think that's the way it is, and I think NASA is kind of keyed into that, and they're the main player in getting people to the point where we're not going to have that anarchy, where we'll have that general understanding that if we can have, a bunch of microbial life on Mars farting away every day, that yeah, it is very possible and more than likely that we have advanced civilizations out there in the universe somewhere else that may or may not be visiting planet Earth.
Well, it's a positive thought. It really is. It's a positive thought that we are going to recognize as a society, as a humanity, and hey, we all understand that there's UFOs and it's going to happen, and we're okay with it. But I still think that maybe me and me knowing the people in the United States and how crazy we are and the stuff that we do when we're bored, I, I don't know what I'm gonna piss off everybody because we already pissed off everybody. I've seen NASCAR fans and how crazy they are. I've seen football or soccer fans how crazy they are around the world. I don't know. ET comes and they might want to go mud bogging. Those rednecks might go mud bogging with the ET, and you know how that might be offensive. I don't know. And
Well,
also might.
I think
Huh?
that we can come together as a species and have a common goal if we think that potentially there might be someone more advanced, more powerful than us that could be a threat to our families and our way of life.
I think that's a double-edged sword way of thinking. For the reason being is, yes, we could recognize that the UFOs um, may be more technology, but also, once again, you got that fear of in every civilization where, going back to the beginning of time, every civilization that whoever had the better technology took over the other species every single time when it comes to evolution, when it comes to humanity, when it comes to everything. It's always been that way. That's where that fear comes from. It's kind of like a fight or flight instinct when it comes to humanity, my opinion.
Well, that's fine. But fight or flight is there for a reason, and that's for survival.
Right. And, just in case, and I said ET might be extremely peaceful, but everybody, have your preparation bag. I'm a prepper. I got a book bag ready to go. I'm about to get another one.
Well, it looks like we're all going to need a prepper bag, a laser, and a couple of other things. So, Big
I'm
O, we're in our last minute for the show this week. Any last words for our listeners?
Well, we just appreciate every single listen that I see, that I hear. We want more feedback. I appreciate every single one of you. I love the likes. We need more likes. And if you like our show, pass it along. And this is Big O wishing you guys a better 2016 because 2015 is come and gone. And let's make this year an awesome year.
And folks, Big O is correct. If you like our show, please share it. Share it with your friends, families. Share it through social media because that's what we're doing. And there's nothing but big things coming our way. We're going to get social media together. We're going to get a website going in the near future. And we really want to reach out not only to other Americans and people within our country, but we want to reach out to other countries around the world and get together a movement. So, from Big O and myself, thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.